I'm here today with Adrian Sladdin and Neil Tyson, who are hosting our online training about compliance and player protection in times of crisis. Just going to have a quick chat with them about the training, what it is and why it's important, and why you need to get involved right now. So Adrian, I'm going to kick off with you. There's a lot of information that seems to be available at the moment. You can't move for webinars. So what's different about this course?
I think the main thing, Paula, is that in these times of lockdown, it's really important that everything is refreshed and looked at anew. And I think a lot of the training that's out there at the moment is a little bit kind of staying a little bit old. What we're doing is we're actually engaging with our delegates through the workshops and making sure that we're really talking through some of the contemporary issues, some of the things that are coming up in lockdown.
But Neil, in terms of what we're offering here, the product is access to you guys as experts and all your knowledge that you've gained over many, many years working in this part of the industry. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your background as a fraud investigator and how you've wound up training gambling operators about compliance?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I've got over 20 years experience in the fraud, financial crime space, and that's operating across a broad number of sectors, not just the gambling sector. So I can bring additional perspective from other regulated sectors, other best practice as well, but really kind of hone that down and focus in on, well, how is that relevant to the gambling sector? What are the key risks that they're facing at the moment? What can they do about that? But some real practical kind of takeaways that they can go back and and implement.
And there's been loads of changes. I mean, I've had so much to write about and so much to think about over the last few weeks. You know, the regulators certainly haven't stood still. We've seen a lot of fines issued. We've seen a lot of action taken. We've seen the Gambling Commission put forward new guidelines around player protection that are very, very likely, after consultation, to become part of the LPPC. So, Adrian, will that be covered in the course?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important that we look at a lot of the information that's coming out at the moment. As you rightly say, that the fines continue, the stories around safeguarding issues continue. And still, you know, we see things about particularly a young man last week who committed suicide, you know, and it's tragic. So we really need to look at the industry as closely as ever to address this. Yes, the LPPC sort of is constantly changing at the moment. And again, we need to kind of discuss these, look at them and say, are they fit for purpose? Is there more we can do in this space? Because again, we want everyone who comes to the training really to be the best in terms of their practice. We don't want to go for box ticking. We don't want to go for just going through the motions. We want this to be really live, meaningful training. And I think we will all agree it's all about the change that we take away from these sessions as well. So what will we do better?
Excellent, thank you. And Neil, sort of leading on from there, I guess. Obviously, there was a lot of stories, especially early on in lockdown, about an increase in online fraud, which is something online operators need to be aware of. And I'm just wondering about, you know, obviously we're going to be covering how to deal with the lockdown period, but is this also going to set people up to come out of that period and have a look at what the new normal is and different ways we need to operate and different things we need to be looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously there are some immediate impacts. You know, people's behaviour is changing as a result of lockdown. Both, you know, individuals who are working for operators, individuals who are accessing their services, even the regulators themselves. That you know, and some of that is immediate. There'll be a medium-term piece as people move back into their workplaces. Which will bring further changes, and then there'll be some longer-term impacts. And certainly, you know, when you look at even some of the guidance that's coming out from some of the law enforcement agencies outside of the sector, you know, they're taking that immediate, medium, and long-term view of some of these risks, some of these changes, and that's what we'll be looking at as well. So this is very much setting you up for the future.
Thanks, Neil. So setting everybody up for the future seems like a really good place to leave the interview today. So thank you for that one. And thank you, Adrian, as well. Both of you, it's always an absolute pleasure spending time chatting to you guys. To book your place on compliance and player protection in times of crisis, or to find out more information, visit the KnowNow website today.